Good evening, and welcome to the second David Parkin Oration for Sport and Social Change, or more accurately now, the Dr. David Parkin OAM Oration for Sport and Social Change. So congratulations, David, on those honours attached to all the others. My name is Warwick Hadfield, and I'm your MC for this evening. Tonight, our speaker is a man who's used his sporting profile to change society for the better, probably like no other in this country. A man I, and I'm sure many of you sitting out there in the audience, are proud to call a friend. Dr. Kevin Sheedy, AM. Now it's my pleasure to welcome David Parkin to the microphone.
I'd have to say that my brother, on hearing that I had received an honorary doctorate back in 2013, via, mind you, a golfing mate the next day, my brother, who in fact is a medical doctor himself, was very quick to tell me that I just devalued his qualification. I'm hoping that he hasn't read about the Parkin Oration, or I think I'm in for some severe consequences as a part of that. Sport in Australia, which captivates the hearts and minds of both sexes across all ages and within all socio-economic groups, has a massive and very powerful role in changing attitudes to a host of important issues. Tonight we hear from a man who has not only been a playing and coaching adversary of mine for 30 plus years, but a friend and a colleague for nearly the same period. Kevin Sheedy's playing and coaching record stands second to very few, but his influence on the game of Australian football, and as a consequence, his influence on Australian society, is second to none.
Thank you, David. Deakin University has the edge, not just literally by virtue of this venue, but in so many other areas as well. Its research, its teaching, the whole of life experience it offers to its students. One reason for that edge is the university's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Jane Den Hollander.
Deakin is very proud to lay claim to David Parkin as one of our own. He is a teacher, he is a lecturer, and he has practiced this at Deakin since 1992, and before that taught at our antecedent institutions, Burwood Teachers College and Victoria College. Men like David Parkin and our guest this evening, Kevin Sheedy, are passionate people, much like many of our academic staff. And central to this is their interest in making a difference in people's lives. Their medium just happens to be sport.
Because this is what the game taught me. To me, it's about the game. And it's about the country that we're all very fortunate to be either born here or allowed to get here. And that is that you can make your dreams come true. You'll know your teachers and your lecturers who are really, really excellent. You'll just name them very quickly. One hand. And you'll know the worst teacher you ever had taught you. You'll name them that quick. So it's about that balance of who is really good and who is not that great. By now I'm a plumber. Very opposite to going to Melbourne High and becoming an educationalist. I've got to put overalls on. My greatest claim to fame is that I put the downpipes and the rain heads on St. Paul's, and I'm very proud of that. I tell my kids every time we walk past that church. And then you finally get to have a career. They put you in the back pocket where you've never played. And all my coach said is, kick it long. That's all we got taught. Kick it long. Every week, just kick it long. That's Tom Havey's greatest catchphrase. By the time I went coaching, I went and got kick it, and I went and got long, I can assure you. The army was very challenging. Hardest part about the army, quite simply, was I was a coach at 21, and I was to coach men that had just come back from Vietnam. And that was a very, very crucial period of your life. We had no understanding about diplomacy, but you better find it quick. And so in the end, I had the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to go to Darwin. Never thought I'd be to Darwin, and I flew up there and I went to the Tiwi Islands, and I could not believe the talent on that island or those islands. They played a different game, they had skill, they actually watered the ground and played through the mud. Just a game in mud, because there's hardly ever mud on Tiwi Islands. And I thought that was just exciting. That's 1974. And it probably took another decade to believe, to actually say to my bosses at Essendon, why is there not been an Aboriginal player in this club for 40 years? Is there a reason? Are there rules at Essendon or in the AFL or VFL that I don't know? And the great Ken Fraser, one of the most honest people you'll ever meet, got up and said, look, to be honest, Sheeds, we've never been told of an Aboriginal player that we should get. And gee, that was a great answer, which really eased your mind, saying good. Because now that it's on the table, now that we'll go and find some talented Indigenous players. And of course, the first one was Michael Long. And he played football like you'd never seen. He ran the ball, he stopped, his eyes you could see. He looked down the field and he was bouncing like a Harlem Globetrotter. Then we got Gavin Wanganeen. I don't know whether you remember Gavin Wanganeen, but when we signed Gavin Wanganeen, our membership went up. 5,000 women signed. I thought, gee, this is a bit different. Must be something in buying and selling and trading good-looking people. So I said to the staff, from now on, we will recruit good-looking players. So we went 2 spunks, 1 buffet, okay? So when you actually see the dynamics of what a sport or many sports can do, it actually connects. It weaves through society like a vine. How do we make the world sit back and say, what is this game in Australia that actually attracts the best crowds per head of population in any country in the world? And what can we do to make it better, not worse? Not worse. The great thing about the Giants in the west of Sydney is we don't have any concrete blocks weighing us down. We have 165 nations living in our city metropolitan zone, 165 nations. And one of the great projects coming up this week, because it's Multicultural Week, is that we're going to have a young Chinese Australian call the game back into China in Mandarin. My next project, ladies and gentlemen, as I finish, will be heading to Perth this week on a really exciting project, and that is to pick the best team out of one Aboriginal tribe in this country called the Noongar people. I'm sitting now with Barry Cable and a number of Indigenous people to make sure that this tribe, this community of Indigenous people in the south of West Australia, get their due credit. And if we pick this Noongar team and bring them over next year, it'll be sold out, because you keep building. You keep positive and give people great fun. Great fun. So I'll leave it at that, because I won't bring up the marshmallows. Won't bring up waving my jacket and scratching my throat. Got home that night, my mother rang. Said, "Hi, Mum, you're a disgrace." Thank you very kindly.
It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to say thank you, Kevin, for the delivery of the 2014 David Parkin oration. We were, of course, delighted when Kevin accepted our invitation to give tonight's address, and suffice to say, he has satisfied our expectations in a most spectacular fashion. Tonight, we have given only passing acknowledgement of the 3 premierships as a player and 4 premierships as a coach that distinguish Kevin among football royalty. In keeping with the theme of this oration tonight, we have had the privilege of hearing Kevin reflect on commitments and deeds that transcend personal and team accolades, and where the impact of his work is measured far beyond the playing arenas of AFL football. The impact of Kevin's work in this sphere of social engagement cannot be overstated. Marquee events such as Dreamtime at the G and the Long Walk have Kevin Sheedy's fingerprints all over them. It is a tribute to Kevin Sheedy that while Indigenous people make up around 2% of the Australian population, they comprise around 10% of current AFL playing lists. It has been an honour and a privilege to listen to you tonight and gain a fuller appreciation of the positive impact that you have had on Australian society. I invite you all to join me once more in thanking Kevin Sheedy, AM and AFL Hall of Fame inductee, for his wonderful presentation tonight.